What is going on, everybody? Voidlego here, back with a brand new episode of Higurashi When They Cry. Last time on, we had just started Chapter 5, and we are from the perspective of Shion, who had just escaped from a Catholic school, and she was rescued by her personal butler, and she went over and talked to Mion, and found out that she has changed a little, become more focused on the overall community of Himizawa, and they both have different viewpoints on the damn protest. So now we are going somewhere. I don't know. I still don't know where this chapter is going, but it's going somewhere. A smudged diary. Whoa. God damn it. Alright, time to get a drink. Sadako was crying while hiding behind my back. She's been crying while clinging onto me, so my back was wet with her tears and snot. My aunt had been screaming hysterically, but she looked tired now. Is this from the point of perspective of Satoshi? I suddenly realized that it was already past 1 in the morning. She vomited out a series of screams one last time and finally called it quits. Sadako seemed exhausted. She was looking down in a state of shock. Even after my aunt walked away, she didn't realize she had been freed. So I stroked her head and told her.
終わったよ、Sadako.
Sadako twitched. Her eyes grew bright again and tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked up on my face. She knew it was over, but wanted to hear it directly from me. She begged me with a look. To be honest, I was really exhausted too, so I felt a bit annoyed when she tried to make it say it. But I needed to pacify her, so I gently told her what she wanted to hear.
もうおばさんの小言は終わったよ。だからね、寝よう。
Sadako clung to me while her tears continued to fall. She was crying again silently. Sadako shivering pitifully. Her small back reminded me that there was nobody else to protect her.
さあ、歯を磨いて、それから布団を敷こう。そしてぐっすり休もう。
Sadako smiled, faintly nodded. I felt dizzy. As I was released from the strain, a harsh drowsiness fell upon me. While Sadako was washing her face, I went to the toilet. I zoned out while watching my pee. In my dizziness, I almost missed the shot. Felt like I was being sucked into the toilet. Couldn't even remember what caused it. Why did my aunt start screaming today? God damn it. What? Man, we just started the episode. You fucking had it stab me right in the goddamn heart, Higurashi. God damn it. Oh, god damn it. Oof, fuck. Alright, let's continue then. Jeez, fuck. Just right off the bat, huh? God. It's a very quiet afternoon as always. Since I can't go outside as myself, I have to match schedules with Mion when I go shopping. I've gotten used to it by now, so no longer a hassle. Because of this, I naturally have to buy things in bulk. Today I shuttled between shops on my own.
あれは買った、これも買った。ああ、そうだ。今日って100円セールの日じゃなかったっけ？忘れてた。
Being in a good mood, I spun around with my arms spread out. Felt like a little whirlwind. My arm hit a motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It obviously wasn't where it was supposed to be.
もう何こんなとこに止めてるの？誰？
Gave it a kick with no hesitation. There were 3 motorcycles lined up there in a row. Oh boy. And there you go. They all fell like dominoes. was a beautiful sight. This is fun, I thought. Being in such a good mood made me leave my guard down. Didn't realize that the owners of the motorcycles were right nearby. They looked pretty scary. They grabbed me by the neck and dragged me into a dark alley. Then they called me all kinds of names. Everything was happening too quickly for me to grasp what was going on. Please would it be the same guys from like chapter 2. Whoa, can't really talk properly. Didn't have a clue what they were saying. Had to translate their alien tongue into normal human words in order to understand. They are very upset because you knocked down on motorcycles. Should immediately pay for the repair and compensation. Yeah, that was probably it. That's all I'll offer. What do you say? We'd be happy to listen to your opinion. Something like that.
Ah, ごめんなさい。さすがにそろそろ翻訳不能かも。あ？だとぐら！
I know what they're trying to say, but somebody has to warn them about the way they park their motorcycles. Wouldn't be fair to those who obey the rules if there were no punishments for those who disobey them. This isn't an accident, but it must also be God's will. But God, you can use me to punish these guys, but how will you compensate me later? I heaved a huge sigh. Of course, I wasn't afraid in this situation at all, because it wasn't a dangerous one for me. These three guys were yelling at the top of their lungs at the girl. They didn't look good at doing it, and they had way too many disadvantages. First, there was the differences in gender and in the number of people. Even if I did something wrong, as men shouting at a woman, it didn't make them look like they were in the right. Added to that, there were three of them, and already looked like it was going to get violent. Second, the location. Taking a girl into a dark, narrow alleyway is already a bad idea. On top of that, they're asking for money, not just an apology. Thanks to these facts, the public will be on my side. So this was a fight they couldn't possibly win. The only way for them to win would be to take my money before somebody finds out. Considering that, I thought taking me to this narrow, secluded alleyway might have been a smart move, since fewer people will find out about the situation. I know how slim their chances of winning were. From the very beginning, they had picked the wrong girl. I'm Mion Sonozaki now. It'd be foolish to mug her in Okayama. Soon enough, the people of Himizawa would notice me and gather round. They don't spare mercy for their enemies no matter what. The punks didn't know this very well. If they did, they have known how silly it was to rob Mion. Plus, the alleyway isn't always as empty as they assumed. The side street is a shortcut which local people frequently use on their way home. The late afternoon, many people will be passing through here. That time had almost arrived. If I held out a little longer, the street would soon be filled with people. Then the punks would have to go away. Didn't have to do anything. I just had to wait in order to win. This was a simple fight like that. While they could hurl abusive language at me or lift me up by my collar, they weren't actually going to resort to violence. Cheers to the educational system for integrating the ladies first mindset. But as a wicked person, I wanted to toy with them a bit, even though I could win this by waiting. I wanted to paint them as even more villainous and drive them into a corner that would be even harder to talk their way out of. That demonic desire was rearing its horns. To put it plainly, I'd only need to act as the poor, helpless victim a little further. Like the pathetic, pitiful, tragic heroine everyone wants to sympathize with. In a case like this, I shouldn't start crying immediately because they get nervous and draw back. If it were truly a threatening situation, that would work, but I needed something different here. I pretend to be strong at first. In fact, I thought, why don't I challenge them? And eventually I'd start trembling, my voice would fade, and I'd get tears in my eyes. It'd be even better if I played the role of a strong girl who's slowly giving in to fear. Mion and I are probably the only ones who are capable of pulling that kind of stuff off. Well, probably better than her.
そんなにしつこく言わなくてもいいでしょ。悪かったって言ってるじゃないですか。
I talked back with a little hesitation. Am I getting tears yet? Yes! By the way, I've heard men can't shed tears on command. I feel sorry for them. Free punks. Yes, we can. I'll do it right now. Shit, I can't. The free punks fretted a bit due to my sudden change in attitude, but they soon started yelling at me again. I had to keep it going. That way they wouldn't really look like they were picking on a helpless girl.
もう許してください。
なんだよこら。さっきまでの伊勢はどこ行ったんだよにゃろ。
そんなのだって。
そんな今頃泣くくれなら調子くれてんじゃねえんだよたくよ。
It looked like they were weighing off a bit. Did I overdo it a little? It'd be boring if they let me go now. That moment. Who the hell? Oh, what? Oh, Huh, for some reason I never imagined Satoshi being blonde, even though that would make sense.
もう泣いているじゃないか。やめてやれ。
A boy around my age appeared. He was skinny. He looked weak. He looked younger than he probably was. I don't know, for some reason I always imagined Satoshi with like blue hair. I don't know why. He also looked smart. He bravely glared at the punks.
なんだなこの野郎。足んねえことしてった邪魔するな。
The punks turned away from me to face the boy instead. The boy looked a bit agitated when the punks started yelling at him. They sure were worthless. But the boy must have known that from the beginning. Must have known that he was going into a dangerous situation. Yet he didn't hesitate.
黙ってたらわからんがな。返事せんか返事。
He must have wanted to shout back at them, but he probably never used that kind of language in his life. So he couldn't have expressed his feelings out loud. Might have not even known what to say. So he just kept on glaring at them, to let them know that he wasn't going anywhere. Free punks, though, might have thought he was just lost for words in his fear, but I knew different. The boy was overpowering them with nothing but his will. The punks were losing, so they resorted to violence. They grabbed him and knocked him down. They hit, kicked, and tossed him around. It looked painful, but I knew it was his victory. In the end, local passersby stopped the punks. They made no further fuss and just went away. The boy stood up. He was covered in dust. He smiled when our eyes met, and asked me if I was alright. He didn't look particularly okay himself, though.
あんたもよくもまあ勝てない喧嘩を買う人ですね。次からは勝てる算段がついてから喧嘩を買うことを深くお勧めしますけどね。
最初は迷ったよ。
He laughed, saying that he was watching from the beginning. That meant he had the option to walk away. But instead he worked up the courage and stepped in.
そういうのは勇気って言わず、万有って言います。身の程知らずとも言うかな。
うん。ミオンは口が減らないね。助けてくれてありがとうくらい言ってくれよ。
Oh my, it's literally the exact same situation from chapter 2, except it's Shion being me. In chapter 2 it was Mion being Shion, and here it's Shion being Mion. Not confusing at all.
泣いてたじゃないか。
別に泣いてなんかいません。あれはちょっとした演技で。
いいよ、演技でも。
ちょっと信じてないでしょ。私が本当に泣き出すと思いますか？
思わないよ。 天下御免の園崎美音が不良にいじめられて泣き出したなんて誰も思わないよ。
何を笑ってるんですか。全然信じてないでしょ。私が半泣きなんてするわけない。
信じるから信じるから。
I realized one thing. You must be one of Sis's friends. Didn't seem to realize I'm her twin. He thought I was Mion with a different hairstyle. Mion and I had to live separate ways since before he went to elementary school. Mion was in Himizawa, and I was in Okayama. I lived in a totally different environment from her. So it's not strange that people don't know me. Actually, only very few people know I exist. I almost told him that I'm not Mion, but I managed to stop myself. Shion shouldn't be here. He's from Himizawa. It wouldn't be good if he thought he saw Mion look-alike in Okayama, so I had to act like Mion. Dealing with him could be more difficult than handling those punks.
でもまあミオンにも少しは女の子らしいところがあったんで安心したよ。
なんだか妙に引っかかる言い方ですけど、つまりはどういう意味です？
ミオンのことだからなんだか珍妙な憲法でも使って瞬く間に撃退してしまうんじゃないかって期待してたね。だから泣き出した時は正直驚いた。
だからあれは泣き真似だったって言ってるじゃないですか。さっきから人の話ちゃんと聞いて。
He generally put his hand on top of my head and stroked it as if stroking a kitten. Can remember somebody doing that to me when I was little, but it had been quite a while since somebody stroked my head. Didn't know what to do. Why did it have to make me so embarrassed? Face running all at once, I couldn't say anything.
バカにしてます？ひょっとして。
I shuddered in embarrassment. He looked calm as if he was used to doing this.
何でもいいよ。よかったじゃないか。
よかったって何がです？
無事で。
He smiled while he kept stroking my head. His smile looked divine. He wasn't going to stay for long. He'd already saved me from those guys after all.
じゃあ僕は行かなきゃならないから。そろそろ行くね。
あ、うん。
I wanted to go through all the steps of meeting someone for the first time, but he didn't. As far as he was concerned, he just saved a friend from danger and wanted to leave quickly to avoid seeming pretentious. He and Mion must be friends who knew each other very well. So I couldn't bring myself to ask, "What's your name?" Mion's friend smiled once again. His smile looked as refreshing as a clear blue sky. This time he smiled a bit mischievously.
安心しなよ。ミオンが泣いてたなんて誰にも言わないから。もっとも言ったところで誰も信じないだろうけどね。天下無双の委員長が泣いてたなんて絶対誰も信じない。
He patted the dust off his butt once again. He walked back to the sunny main road, away from the dark alley. Then he turned around.
じゃあまた明日。学校でね。
うん。学校で。
He disappeared into the widely lit street. Continues in my gloomy alleyway. Wow, first time we actually meet Satoshi, and in a lot of ways, he definitely is kind of similar to Getchi. Could no longer see him. I was just staring absent-mindedly at the bright light. That was the first time I met Satoshi-kun. I'm not even allowed to walk freely under the sun. I met a boy on a sunny day. How come a perverse girl like me fell in love with his innocence. Notebook, page 5.
そりゃあサトシだよ、サトシ。
Shit, whose notebook was that? Perverse. Shit. I can't. God damn it. There's only two candidates in my mind who could have wrote that notebook. Shion or Mion. Because I'm pretty sure I theorized in chapter 2 that Mion fell in love with Satoshi. And that was why she was... When he disappeared, he... Actually, no. Actually, yes, that does make sense. Let me think back to the theory. That Mion fell in love with Satoshi, but could never say it. And when he disappeared, she cursed Sadako. And, you know, you remember the latter scene during chapter 2 of how, like, Sadako was this cursed child who was, you know, cursed by Oshiro-sama, which, well, Sadako herself believes that, and we learned in chapter 3. But it also could be Shion that could have wrote that as well. And then also I feel like the reason why Mion also fell for Kechi was because Kechi reminded her of Satoshi, you know. And when, you know, Kechi didn't give her the doll, she went, you know, her mind broke and, you know, started killing everyone. So, well, once again, just like most of the fucking mysteries in this game, it's a 50-50.
その特徴的な雰囲気と気安く頭を撫でる癖は間違いないね。ふん。サトシ君って言うんだ。
The boy from earlier is called Satoshi Hojo-kun. Mion said that he's always daydreaming. So she didn't believe that he saved me at first.
普段はしっかり者の妹にいろいろと尻を叩かれてるな。
Also, a commentator left that each answer arc corresponds with a question arc. And I'm not even that far into this chapter, but I'm going to guess this answer arc is, or answer chapter is going to be corresponding to chapter 2. Because, you know, we're focusing on the Sonozaki family. So.
妹がいるんだ。
And their relationships to everyone, most likely.
妹は貞子って言ってね。なかなか面白いやつだよ。なかなか悪知恵が働くしね。そのくせ追い詰められると泣くし。見てて退屈しない子だね。まあ、最近はいろいろとあってね。ちょっと調子を落としてるけど。
His sister came up with naturally in the conversation. I tried to soak up every scrap of information about Satoshi-kun. Why? Why am I trying to ask so much about him? As I asked myself that, the feeling I got when he stroked my head came back to me. Must have been blushing.
もしもし
Maybe it isn't a 50-50 question. It's a 50-50 in the notebook, but maybe Mion and Shion both fell for, you know, both Kechi and Satoshi. That could be the answer. They are twins. I don't know, throwing that out there.
シオンごめん。聞いてる。
That's Higurashi for you. One episode I'm theorizing about the overall conspiracy of the village and who's behind all this. The next episode, theorizing about teenage romances.
そもそもね、聡子がおばと折り合いが悪いらしいんだよね。サトシは大人だから、その辺はうまく立ち回ってるんだけどさ、聡子は嫌なことがあると素直に表情に出しちゃうからね。
What Sis told me was very interesting. She told me that the parents of Satoshi-kun and his little sister are dead. Satoshi-kun and Sadako are now living with their uncle and aunt. They don't seem like very respectable people. They're always fighting, and the uncle is cheating on the aunt. He mostly lives with his mistress. Satoshi-kun and Sadako entered into an unwelcome environment. What surprises me the most is the fact that Satoshi-kun's parents were the Hojo couple who were the leaders of the pro-dam activists. That fact must have added something to the situation. I don't know what kind of stance the uncle and aunt took during the dam conflict, but they must have taken some indirect blows. Satoshi-kun's parents died after bothering them so much, and even left them their children. The uncle and aunt obviously can't love those kids. Things have gotten worse this past year too. Women can't be really nasty bullies. Sometimes it doesn't matter who they're bullying, even if it's a kid. On top of that, women tend to care less about property than men. As a result, Sadako seemed exhausted with it all. I can imagine Satoshi-kun bravely protecting his little sister, just like when he saved me.
なら、サトシ君も普段は疲れてるってことになるのかな。
え？
サトコがおばにいじめられるたびに、きっとサトシ君は妹をかばってると思う。妹が疲れるのと同じくらい、サトシ君も疲れてると思うのは、私の考えすぎ？
どうだろうね。
Did I say something wrong? Mion sounded a bit taken aback. So that meant Mion can't tell how he's feeling, because he's always wearing that blank look. So she never considered it. How can she be that insensitive even though she's around him all the time? I was amazed to realize that.
まあそんな話はいいや。で、彼は普段はどんなことをしてるの？文系みたいだから読書とか好きなわけ？
想像に漏れずに普段は読書して過ごしてるよ。最近読んでる本はね、なんて言ったかな。
A man after my own heart. I continued asking about him, about what he likes, dislikes, and what he thinks about. I asked all these questions because I wanted to know more about him. It was the first time I ever been that interested in somebody. Didn't want to admit that I had feelings like that. Did I fall in love just because of a stroke on the head? Am I stupid or what? When I remember the feeling of his hand on my head, my heart feels tingy. I tried doing it myself, but it didn't feel the same. I'm stupid. What am I doing, stroking my own head?
おねえ、私もうダメだ。バカになっちゃった。
何を突然気色悪い声で笑い出して。
お姉にはわかるまい、この気持ち。
When would I see him again? Felt as if my suffocating life had finally grown brighter. The life I lived really was beginning to suffocate me. Couldn't go out freely, and I always had to make arrangements with Mia before going to work. I thought my life would improve after escaping from the school, but in reality it wasn't that easy. It's not healthy to live like this for too long. Without any friends to hang out with, felt like I was hibernating. Started to feel the dangers of falling into boredom. All I could think of now was Satoshi Hojo-kun's face. I only met him briefly, but my encounter with him had a great impact on my new life. Felt like something exciting was going to happen. I was hyped up like a little kid. The more I thought about it, I realized I've been thinking about him a lot lately. This might be a crush. Felt a little ridiculous idolizing him in such a romantic way though. Then out of the blue, I got a chance to see him again.
あれ？
I saw a familiar face at twilight in the park. He was sitting on the swing. He looked like he was zoning out or maybe deep in thought. Didn't notice me even though I was right in front of him. Minded myself to speak and act like Mion before talking to him.
へい、 何やってんのこんなとこでさ。
ミオンか。びっくりしたな。
そんなに驚いてるようには見えないけどね。さっきからいたんだけど、ずっと気づかなかった？
そうなのかい？ごめん、気づかなかったよ。
He smiled self-deliriously and shrugged. He looked depressed, like something was troubling him.
何か悩み事でも？聞いて楽になるものなら聞くし、力になれるものなら惜しまないけど。
God, this background is really well drawn.
いや、別に。
Like, this is like wallpaper material type of like background.
私はサトシ君には一個借りがあるからね。それとも何？おじさんじゃ力になれないと思ってるわけ？見くびられたもんだな。
別に。ミオンの力を借りたら意味がないことだからさ。
ほう。
Also, I haven't mentioned this, but I think it's really great they, switch out the VA for, when Shion acts like Neon. It's really cool.
それは何？つまり、私ごとき女の手は借りたくないってこと？
Thinking him unfair, I puffed up my cheeks in a sulky gesture. Satoshi-kun noticed that and smiled.
違うんだよ、ミオン。僕に実力がなくて、ここ一番で打てなかったってだけのことなんだよ。
I mentally riffled through all the information about Satoshi-kun that Sis had given him. Me, baseball. He doesn't look like much of an athlete, but apparently Satoshi-kun belongs to a junior baseball team. Called to Himizawa Fighters. Doubt he's very skilled since I didn't hear much about his contributions to the team. Maybe that's why he doesn't tell many people that he's a member. Given how down he felt as a result of messing up, though, he must be fairly dedicated. I deduced all that from what Sis told me and carefully chose my words so as to sound like her.
なんだ、そんなことで落ち込んでるわけ？
そんなことでって簡単に言ってくれるな、ミオンは。
I patted his back while chuckling. Satoshi-kun would probably call me insensitive. Neil should listen to him rather than try to cheer him up. Acting like Sis was probably the worst wrong thing to do in this case, but I had no choice. This was just how she would react in this situation.
それなら落ち込むんじゃなくて、なお一層練習に打ち込んで次のチャンスを目指すのが適当ってもんでしょうが。こういう時は練習しかないよ、練習。まあサトシ君に相手のピッチャーに小細工をしてまで勝ちたいという執念があるなら、おじさんいろいろと協力できるかもしれませんけどね。
ずるしても何の意味もないよ。はあ。
Who cares about sportsmanship? Cheat! Satoshi-kun hung his head above letting his regrets out with a big sigh. Surrender, defeat, resignation were all visible in that gesture of his.
諦めがいいのか未練たらたらなのか。やっぱり男に生まれたからには一度くらいは晴れ舞台でスターになってみたいでしょう。
I mean, who doesn't? Satoshi-kun grinned and said yes.
もちろんヒーローを目指すのが花だけど、それが目的で野球をやってるわけじゃないよ。純粋にボールを投げたり打ったりするのが楽しいからやってるんだよ。ミオンでもそういうの分かるよね。
おじさんはそういうのはあんまわかんないかな。私は結果が一番であるならどんな種目でも大好きだし、一番になれないのに大好きなんてものはあんまりよくわかんないね。
もうミオンらしい答えだな。
Having realized that I'm trying to make him feel better, he laughed along. He didn't look depressed anymore. I guess he was just feeling down because of the game. He wasn't as depressed as I thought. Maybe I just jumped to conclusions when I saw him sitting alone in the park.
でも ミオンは一番になるためにいろいろと努力をするからね。それは偉いと思うよ。
He smiled gently and stood up, then he started stroking my head. All of a sudden, I totally wasn't prepared for that. I thought this when he did this last time, but how can he stroke somebody's head so easily? I felt like I had turned into a little kid. Memories from kindergarten came to mind. My face must have been red. I felt embarrassed, but I also like I was in heaven. Satoshi-kun stroked me as though petting a cat. I was watching with my eyes closed. I felt helpless, like a girl being treated by the dentist with her mouth open and her eyes shut. Satoshi-kun didn't seem to notice my feelings at all. Didn't seem to care. I hate him. My eyes still closed, I waited for him to finish. He suddenly withdrew his hand.
じゃあ、僕はそろそろ帰るよ。
Damn, how long was that? Fucking headpad, Jesus. Turned fucking evening.
おばさんに野球の帰りに買い物をしてくるよう頼まれてるから。
あ、
My voice faltered. I was so embarrassed.
買い物なら私夕飯の買い物。
あれ、ミオも買い物するんだ。お手伝いさんが全部やってくれるって言ってなかったっけ？
Shoot. I messed up. Main Sonozaki house, the maids do everything. Before me on hardly goes grocery shopping, and she's bragged to some people about that. Should have known better. Still, it wouldn't be too hard to find an excuse.
町に遊びに来るつもりでいたから、たまに買い物を私が引き受けてきたわけよ。お分かり？
ミオンにしては珍しいね。普段はそういうのめんどくさいって言って嫌がりそうなのに。
そういうのを余計なお世話って言います。頭撫でないで。
Damn boring sound effect. Satoshi-kun seemed to be having fun with how embarrassed I get when he petted me. Anyway, I managed to talk my way out of it. He didn't seem to really care about the details. While walking with Satoshi-kun in the shopping district of Kama-ishiki, it suddenly occurred to me, why had I messed up? No, Mion would have never go grocery shopping with an amateurist mistake. Did I make the mistake when I was pretending to be Mion? No, probably speaking to Shion. Couldn't keep lying to myself. I had to just admit. It was simply because I wanted to spend as much time with Satoshi-kun as possible. Yeah, you do. You like him. Just admit it. It was easy to see why I was so attracted to him. I found something intriguing in my boring wife. I didn't have to feel tense because he thought I was somebody else. Etc., etc. His easygoing nature made him fun to be around, and his habit of petting people on the head was fun too. From these symptoms, I could tell I was embracing the feeling of love. I was just casually enjoying that feeling. It wasn't that I fell in love with him. I was just having fun. I could simply spend some fun time with Satoshi-kun without having to think too much. What the fuck is this music? What is this goddamn like arcade, like claw machine type ass music?
ブロッコリーってどれだっけ？緑だっけ？黄色だっけ？
サトシ君、そっちはカリフラワー。サトシ君ってひょっとしてキャベツとレタスの区別がつかないタイプ？
それはひどいよ。これでも精一杯区別してるつもり。
Satoshi-kun stared at the heaps of broccoli and cauliflower. After thinking for a while, he reached out for the long one.
それ違う。 サトシ君の買い物は見ててハラハラしますね。
God damn it, Satoshi, that's a banana! Oh, shit.
見てるこっちは楽しいけどさ。
参ったな。サトコと一緒の時にも迷うんだよ。ブロッコリーとカリフラワーはどっちが何色だっけってね。
Oh my god, that is right. Sadako can't tell the difference either. Oh my god, that's such a great callback. I completely forgot about that. Oh, that's great. That's fucking great.
あんたら兄弟二人揃って面白すぎです。
Sis had told me that Satoshi was a freaky big brother to his nagging little sister. I hadn't met Sadako, but she must have been having a hard time dealing with Satoshi-kun. He stumbles over everything he buys after all.
それは調理塩。胡椒とか混じってますから、卓上塩とは異なります。
そうなの？ほら、確か理科の実験で塩と胡椒を分離するのを確か。
言い訳はいいから棚に戻す。こっちが普通のお塩ね。で、次は
Oh, here we go with some salt. That's flour!
ミオンがいてくれると買い物が楽で助かるよ。
サトシ君、頭良さそうに見えて社会生活に支障ありすぎです。もう少しお勉強した方がいいと思います。
それはひどいな。あった。これかな。ひょいひょい。
Fuck.
だからそれは違う。何でもカゴに放り込む前に値段と何人分かをよく確認する。
My first impression of Satoshi-kun was that he was strongly reliable. The more I spoke to him, the more surprised I was at how clumsy and unreliable he was. How do I put it? It was hard to leave him alone. He was dangerous on his own. If he wasn't careful, he might start wondering, do you cross the street when the light is red? Was it green? And get himself run over by a dump truck. Sweat trap.
1780円になります。スタンプカードはお持ちですか？
はい。あります。あれ、どこかな。
すみません。ちょっと見当たらないんで今度でいいです。
We finished checking out, ignoring Satoshi-kun as he fished through his wallet full of receipts.
ひどいな、ミオン。スタンプちゃんと押さないともったいないよ。
あんた、夕暮れ時のお買い物ラッシュの時にのんびりと財布を漁ってスタンプカードなんか探さない。
But I get like a 20% discount.
後ろに大勢待ってるんだから。私たちの後ろで海線山線のおばさま方が早くしなさいざますって目でギロギロ睨んでたの気づいてなかったんですか？そういう時はレジ前に並んでる時からあらかじめ用意しておくの。
そうか。いいことを聞いたよ。
ちなみにここでのことだけじゃないですからね。バスに乗る時もそう。サトシ君、バスを降りようとして料金を入れる時、その時になって初めてお財布を開けて小銭をちまちまと探して後ろの人を詰まらせて待たせてるでしょう。
みんな僕を追い抜いて勝手に料金を入れてるかな。
はあ、それはね、すっごーく周りに迷惑をかけているのです。そういうのはあらかじめ用意しておくのがマナー。わかりました？
わかったよ。今日のミオンは怖いな。
Satoshi-kun smiled as if patronizing me. I couldn't believe it. He was halfway the type who made women want to protect him. Sure, he was fine as he was when he had a busy body like me around him. But I couldn't stop worrying whether he was able to function in society without someone like that nearby. We got plastic bags and sorted out what we bought. Satoshi-kun put a pack of tofu at the bottom of the bag, swapped his hand and put it in the milk carton instead.
はい、これで OK。 これで台所で買い物袋を広げてお母さんに仰天されなくて済みますからね。
ありがとう。助かったよ。僕はどうも買い物が苦手でさ。
買い物だけ正直におっしゃい。
How could you hate his face, huh?
嘘冗談。
I had realized a few things while I was spending time with him today. He's not just bad at shopping, he's also chronically clumsy. Generally, you could call him a slow thinker. That meant when he stepped into a quarrel with the punks, he must have needed a lot of courage. Might have been a simpleton, but he's not stupid. He's aware of his weaknesses, so he must have been aware of the danger in that situation. He could have chosen to walk away even though I was in trouble. He chose to be a man and stepped in. That was really admirable of him.
偉い偉い。サトシ君は頑張ったよ。いい子いい子。
なんだよ。急に人の頭を撫でないでくれよ。
サトシ君が一人でお買い物ができましたでしょう。なでなでなで。
ミオン、僕のことすっごいバカにしてるだろ。
してないよ。お家一人で帰れるかな。道わかる？
やっぱりバカにしてる。
God damn, this is just too fucking cute. God fucking damn it. Ugh. Damn you, Higurashi, for playing with my fucking emotions. You fucking amazing goddamn game. You. Satoshi-kun's sulky face flushed red. He's just too cute. At that point, I caught a glimpse of a bulletin billboard from the corner of my eye. Piano lessons call XX. Abacus class. Junior baseball team members wanted. It was a posting for the team Satoshi-kun belonged to. It showed him the day, time, and place of their next practice. And then I knew just how flaky he was. Figured he must be just the same when playing baseball. Satoshi-kun realized I was reading the posting, looked uncomfortable, and walked away.
今サトシ君は思った。頼むからミオン。野球やってるとこまで来ないでくれよ。図星？そのムーってのはつまり何さ。図星ってことでしょ。
Satoshi-kun became quiet, after mumbling something. Seemed like he couldn't say anything back since I had been right on the money. Satoshi-kun, you're just too cute. I don't think going silent is a good way to dodge the issue. Well, that might have been just the way innocent people like him would react in a situation like that.
じゃあね、サトシ君。
Now from what we've seen of Satoshi from this, it makes even less sense of him running away. From, like, if the theory of him disappearing being him running away and flying to a different, like, flying to Tokyo, it makes even less sense. You know? Sure, I could still see him murdering his aunt, yes, maybe. But him running away from his sister, from Sadako, I think is unbelievable to me now.
暗くなりかけてるから気をつけて帰ってね。
ミオンは一緒に帰らないのかい？ひなみ沢。
私はもうちょっと寄るとこありますんで。気にしないで先に帰ってください。
僕の買い物を手伝ってもらったんだから付き合うよ。今度は僕が手伝う。
はい。 ていうか、サトシ君が何を手伝うおつもりで？人の手伝いする前に自分が手伝われなくて買い物できるようになっといてくださいな。
もう今日のミオンはひときわ意地悪かな。
He seemed to have some pride at least. He looked a bit upset because he was teased by a girl. And in contrast, I felt very satisfied. As a result, I forgot to keep my guard up.
あ、でも手伝ってくれてありがとうね。
Here we go again.
本当に助かったから。
There it is. While wearing a bright smile, Satoshi-kun suddenly started stroking my head again. I know he's teasing me, but I can't reject him. Keeps doing it only because he's realized I won't resist. Oh.
じゃあね、ミオン。暗くならないうちに用事を済ませてね。また明日学校で。
また明日学校でね。
In fact, I won't see him tomorrow at all. Felt awkward, but I had to settle for that. I had to thank Sis for letting me use her name. After I separated from him, I found myself giddy and wishing to see him again as soon as possible. I wanted to know more about him. Couldn't wait for my next chance to see him. Actually, maybe there was something I could do. Just like when I obtained my freedom from St. Lucas, I could choose how to live my life. Whatever, it wasn't that complicated. Just wanted to tease him more. I wanted him to stroke my head more. And, whatever. I already knew the schedule for his baseball team. Oh, look at this cute couple. Nothing tragic's gonna happen at all. That's gonna break my heart. Nothing at all. A crumpled diary. Alright. Yeah, we can keep going a little bit more. Also, I have noticed that the in-betweens had no music at all. Just kind of creepy to me. Crumpled diary. My aunt finally stopped her hysterical screaming. Today was just like any other day. Can't remember what set her off. Whatever it was, she changed subjects constantly anyway. It didn't matter. She went on past midnight again. The urge to sleep was pounding the back of my head. When Sadako had been able to relax, she fell down on the spot and started sleeping, still clinging to my sleeve. I carried Sadako to the bedroom and laid out our futons.
ほら、サトコ。布団が敷けたよ。布団に入りな。
Sadako crawled in like a worm. She stopped moving once she was inside. I wish I could go to bed too, but I couldn't. My aunt asked me to do some chores. I had to get toothpaste after school tomorrow. I had to write it down somewhere. I had to make rice for lunch tomorrow. I set the timer. I also had to repile the towels in the bathroom. That was the reason for today's scolding. My aunt will get mad if everything isn't done the way she wants. Oh, and there was something else. I was working at the grocery store the next day. They wanted me to bring an apron. Did we even have an apron in this house? I've never seen one. My aunt will be sleeping when I go to school, so I won't have time to ask her. What should I do? Since Mion helped me get that job, I don't want to screw it up. In that case, why don't I ask Mion about it at school? She might lend me one. Was there anything else? I was envious of Sadako, because she got to go to bed. It was pathetic that I felt that way. Damn, man. Just... fuck, man. Yeah, it might show us that, very cute date and just... you hit us right in the gut with that. Alright, let's keep going.
こんにちは。今日もお暑いのにご精が出ますことで。
おお、ミオンさんじゃないですか。こんにちは。あれ、それは差し入れですか？ありがたいな。さすがは我がチームのマネージャー。
まあ気が向いたからです。別に監督に差し入れたくて買ってきたわけじゃないので、そこんとこよろしくお願いします。あとさりげなく人を勝手にマネージャーに組み込まないように。
ミオンがマネージャーだったらいろいろ心強いと思うけどね。やってよミオン。マネージャー。
Satoshi-kun smiled at me in a carefree manner. I didn't want to become their manager. It'd be tiresome. I've been coming every week though, so I'm a quasi-manager already.
まあ本当に気が向いたらその時はやりますんで。
Oh, so honestly, this is great. So that's why Mion is the sort of manager that never shows up. It's because Shion kept on showing up to see fucking Satoshi. That's all. Even though this is technically an answer chapter, it's answering questions. Not the questions I would have expected, but still answering questions. And you know what? I think that's cool. That's answering the littlest things. That's pretty fucking awesome.
でどうです？サトシ君の打率はどんな感じです？
ええ、頑張ってますよ。彼の打率ですか？そうですね。セブンスマートでおせんべいの袋をどれでも3つ買うとですね。
それってつまり3割ってことですか？
No, I'm just hungry.
へえ、3割打者。サトシ君って結構な高打率打者じゃないの。
打率は数字じゃないよミオン。ここ一番で打てなきゃ意味はないんだからさ。
サトシ君は自分で自分の弱点をよく分かっているようですね。そこまで分かっているなら、あとは練習あるのみですよ。
All you gotta do is you see the ball and just hit it. Easy. Higurashi signaled to the pitcher, then threw the ball. Satoshi-kun looked calm, following the ball with his eyes, then he swung. And a miss. Whack! The ball flew between the first and second bases and went in the distance.
おお、やったー。パチパチパチパチパチ。
I clapped and Satoshi-kun blushed in response. He repositioned his helmet to hide his face.
フリーバッティングや試合が平坦な時はかなり落ち着いたいいバッティングを見せてくれるんですけどね。
Higurashi smiled compassionately. It seemed that Satoshi-kun really couldn't perform well when it counted. While he was usually good, when everybody expected him to perform, he couldn't. I didn't think it was because of nervousness, he just couldn't do it. I think it's a perfect fit for Satoshi-kun's character. He seems calm at first glance, but he's actually slow.
スコアボードとかそういう数字上ではかなりの高アベレージヒッターなのにね。本番に弱いってのは致命的かも。そんなことだからこないだの浮田ジャガーとの試合でもここ一番で凡退するんですよ。
うるさいな。気にしてるんだから黙っててくれよ。
あそこで打てればかなり美味しい見せ場だったんですけどね。残念です。
It could have put the offense into the lead or at least given them an extension. That was when Satoshi-kun came up to the bat. Higurashi wanted him to live up to everybody's expectations, but statistically that wasn't likely to happen. Yet Ire insisted on giving him a chance, in spite of the fact that all the team members had suggested a pinch hitter.
ああもうあそこで打てれば完璧なのにな。どうしてダメなんですか？どうしてああいう時に打てないんですか？
仕方ないよ。僕がああいう時弱いの本当だし。僕だって代打を出してくれた方が試合に勝てるかなって思ったし。
試合に勝つかじゃなくてサトシ君が勝つかどうかが問題なんです。ああもうなんで当の本人にここまで闘争心がないのかな。
Gotta be more assertive.
普通は逆でしょ。代打に変えられそうなところをここは俺に打たせてくださいって食ってかかるとこでしょ。自分から代打を出してほしいなんて言い出すなんて、ああもうなんでここまで闘争心がないのかな。
それは私も普段から言ってるんですけどね。まあその辺がサトシ君のいいところではあるんですがね。
普段は紳士でも試合には鬼になる。男にはそういう二面性があっても私はいいと思います。とにかくサトシ君には鬼がない。仮にもひなみ沢の人間なんだから、たまにはご先祖の鬼の血を思い出してくださいよね。
Unleash your demon back, Satoshi.
って聞いてますサトシ君。
聞いてるよ。よくわかんないけど、その
わかんないけどってサトシ君の話をしてるんですよ。それを
Satoshi-kun started stroking my head. He looked delighted for some reason. Blush immediately spread across my face. Didn't know how to respond.
ミオンは僕のためを思って言ってくれてるんだよね。ありがとう。僕は頑張る。
サトシ君。
God damn, I have to restate this again. God damn it, this is so fucking cute. Oh, fucking stop.
そういうことして
Gonna fucking
ごまかさ
kill
ないで
me.
ください。
ごまかしてなんかないよ。嬉しいだけだよ。
I couldn't resist his hand. Couldn't help mumbling like he does. Satoshi-kun ran back to the field, leaving me wet as a beet.
頭撫でられるの弱いんですか？
Shut up, you're right.
撫でる人によります。監督が撫でてきたら関節決めますんで、覚悟の方よろしくです。
もうずるいな。
Shut.
じゃあ全員集合。今日は出席もいいことですから、人数を分けて紅白戦をやってみましょう。
Yamazawa fighters are sort of a lazy team. The members gather simply to enjoy playing baseball, not to fight for victory. The Okayama Titans use this field too, but they practice on a different day of the week. They always train hard using dumbbells and stuff. Wheelman's baseball. Our team split into two groups and started a match, retaining the loose atmosphere.
じゃあ私は記録でもやるかな。監督、どっかに鉛筆ないですか？
いつもすみませんね。はい、これお願いしますね。
I took the pencil and the clipboard. Didn't know how to differentiate between recording the hits and the errors at first, but by now I was used to it.
頑張ってサトシ君。あんまり応援するとまた打てなくなっちゃいますね。ほどほどに頑張れ。
それはそれでひどいな。
Just be average, Satoshi.
頑張れ。
Time passed slowly that Sunday. Huge white clouds appeared in the sky. They made me feel healthy. Humans are born to be active under the sun. One of the parents was acting as umpire today, so Ire sat on the bench with me. He shouted words of encouragement to the kids while they went into their positions. Any other baseball coach would constantly berate them, but he was much more generous, like a kindergarten teacher. He let the kids have fun while watching over them. To other baseball players might look like a little naive.
それでもあの程度の練習量でみんなこれだけの動きができるんだから驚きですよね。
ひなみ沢の子はみんな普段から元気に遊び回ってますからね。運動量は町のことは比べ物にならないんですよ。
The born countryside, baby.
変なフォームで固めてしまうより遊び感覚の方が伸びるんです。
おお、見事に沖宮タイタンズとは正反対の考え方ですね。あちらの監督と対立するのわかる気がします。
タイタンズさんの考えも間違ってませんよ。試合は勝つためにするものですからね。勝利至上主義は決して間違いじゃないです。みんなで団結して共通の目標を目指すのはとても素敵なことだと思いますからね。まあうちはその目標がたまたま勝利じゃないってだけのことです。
The Yamazawa fighters and the Okayama Titans have been rivals for a long time. Both teams shared the same baseball field for one thing, and originally there was only one team, but the people in Yamazawa left and made their own. Anyhow, we were rivals. The Okayama Titans were strict about winning, and the Yamazawa fighters were just about having fun. Surprisingly, our scores weren't that different, which meant our team had something they didn't. Even though I couldn't put it into words, I knew what made that happen. Friendship.
ほら、赤組さんも頑張ってください。2点差なんかひっくり返せちゃいますよ。白組も油断なくしっかり。
Still, some parents would criticize our coach for being too lenient, but still others would strongly agree with him. Which side would I take? The latter? Couldn't really say for sure. Reason for this was that Ire had an obnoxious habit of sexual harassment. Once again, it's one of those lines where I didn't read it. I didn't read the whole thing. I just went through it. The last word got me. Ire had an obnoxious habit of sexual harassment. Particularly, he had a fascination with maids, but I should talk about that some other time. Yeah, it's still surprising to me that Ire has his own clinic, still to this day, with female nurses. Satoshi-kun let the ball pass twice to see its trajectory, then hit it on the third pitch and ran to first base.
お、サトシ君打った打った。落ち着いてればさすがですよね。
最初はちょっと素振りしただけですぐバテてたんですけどね。それを思えば本当に上達したものです。
サトシ君って文系って感じの人ですよね。よくその彼が野球をやろうなんて思ったものですね。
All the other kids who joined the baseball team loved baseball. They go out to play in the fields outside of practice. That's why they had an aptitude for it. But Sis never said that Satoshi-kun exercises intensely in school or anywhere else. Only he likes to weed. So I didn't understand why he started playing for this team to begin with.
それはですね、私がサトシ君をこのチームに誘ったからなんです。
So I bet this is like Ire's way of like, because he knows the abuse. So like I bet this is the only way he can possibly give some what's the word? Some take Satoshi's mind off things just for a little bit.
監督が自らスカウトしたんですか？サトシ君に何かすごい素質があるのを見抜いて。
あ、すみません。麦茶を一杯もらってもいいですか？あ、 どうも。
Yurei asked for tea in a suspicious manner. While he constantly joked around, I knew he was actually a very mature person. I assumed he was trying to evade my question.
何か訳ありなんですか？
Yurei pretended he didn't hear me, but I pressed him on it. In response, he shrugged and began answering the question.
園崎さんならあるいは想像がつくんじゃないかと。
What would be Mion Sonozaki's guess? Quickly searched for the data I had on Satoshi-kun. Came up with Satoshi-kun's family circumstances. He lost his parents in an accident a year ago. Since then, he's been having a tough time at his uncle's home.
じゃあ監督はサトシ君の鬱憤とかそういうのを解消させてあげようと思ってこのチームに。
And that theory was a bullseye.
スポーツはいいですよ。程よく体を動かして汗をかくことはストレスの発散になります。また熱中することによってわずかな間でも家庭のことを忘れられるならそれは十分な気分転換になりますしね。
ほらサトシ君ってぼんやりしてるというかのほほんとしてるというかそういうところあるじゃないですか。やっぱり相当ストレスあるんですか？
I knew Satoshi-kun must be suffering even though he didn't look like it. But Mion Sonozaki never pays attention to things like that, and I had to act like she does.
おじさんに引き取られて少ししてからサトシ君がだいぶ体調を崩しましてね。いろんな症状を訴えるんですが、いくら調べても原因がはっきりしないんですよ。
Really? Satoshi-kun often got sick after he was taken to his uncle's custody. He suffered from fatigue and migraines. He suffered from a lack of energy and sleepiness. The coach, Dr. Irai, soon realized Satoshi-kun was suffering from a psychological disorder. Most of the people in Himizawa knew how bad Satoshi-kun's environment was. It was natural for him to become sick because he entered that bad environment right after his parents' deaths.
サトシ君は感情の爆発ができないタイプなんですよ。泣いたりとか怒ったりとかそういう感情が人一倍苦手なんです。
確かにサトシ君が泣いたりとか怒ったりってのはあまり想像つかないですね。
サトシ君のお母さんが再婚を重ねてるのはご存知で？
まあ少しは。
Satoshi-kun's mother had married a number of men over the years. That meant Satoshi-kun had several stepfathers. He had to deal with the strangers coming into his home multiple times, so he was forced to be mature.
サトシ君は精神的に早熟なんです。
Hmm.
本人は自覚していないでしょうがね。泣いたり笑ったりダダをこねたりそういう時代をあっという間に卒業させられて大人になっちゃったんです。
監督の言い方だと大人ってのが必ずしもいいようには聞こえないですね。
子供は子供らしく過ごすことで成長していくようにできているんです。それを無理に大人にしたらやっぱりいいことはないですよ。
Not only was Saiko's current relationship with her aunt conspicuously terrible, I heard that her relationship with her previous stepfathers weren't good either. Sadako always caused problems. Satoshi-kun would always step in to protect her.
だからサトシ君の体に変調が出たのはそういうことに体が耐えかねた SOS じゃないかって思ったんです。
Seems like it seems like with the both of them, first it was Satoshi of being forced to become an adult, to take responsibilities too fast, too quickly, and after Satoshi leaves, it's then on to Sadako, especially in chapter 3, of her becoming an adult, as Kechi referred to her as a kind of motherly type of figure. They were both forced to grow up too fast and didn't have time to be innocent, to be kids. It's fucked up. It's fucked up, man. That's why Irei invited Satoshi-kun onto the baseball team. He told Satoshi that he needed a new member, or something like that.
初めは渋ってましたけどね。彼と診療の際にいろいろとお話しするうちに少しずつ打ち解けていきましてね。ちょっと見学だけにでも来てみるといい。ちょっとバットを持ってみるといい。なんて感じで少しずつ誘っていったんですよ。
Sports worked excellent way for Satoshi-kun. His health quickly improved and he started to become interested in baseball. He practiced batting, he was soon able to swing beautifully, and he learned how to see the trajectory of the ball.
なんかわかるな。サトシ君ってコツコツタイプですからね。How to Baseball なんて本をしおり挟みながら読んでる風景が想像できます。
それであれよあれよという間に3割打者なんです。本当によく頑張りました。これでピンチの時にも打てれば完璧なんですけどね。
サトシ君と監督って仲いいんですか？
悪くはないと思ってますよ。悩みとかそういうのを打ち明けてくれたということは私を信頼してくれたからだと思ってます。
I felt a bit jealous of how confidently Irei said that. While Satoshi-kun and I were friends, we weren't so close that he opened up to each other like that.
あれ？嫉妬してます？
何に？
Taken aback, I blushed. Irei started laughing at me.
園崎さんもサトシ君の相談相手になってあげてください。
まあなれるならなれたらいいかななんて。で
I don't know what I was saying.
サトシ君ですね。最近また少し体調を崩してるみたいなんです。
え？
Oh shit. Whack. The ball flew to the left. But the left fielder managed to catch it. It seemed that the relationship between Sadako and her aunt had gotten worse lately. It was obvious his sickness had something to do with that.
おばさんがかなり大人げないいじめ方をしているらしいんです。さとこちゃん、本当にかわいそうなくらいにボロボロになって。何しろ聞いた話では。
で、それをかばうサトシ君もボロボロになっているということですね。
I wasn't interested in Sadako, so I switched the subject back to Satoshi-kun. I didn't know much about Sadako. I knew that she was a big part of Satoshi-kun's life, but I'd never been interested in her until today. She must have been building up self-esteem and taking care of her unreliable brother. That was all I knew about her. But considering Satoshi-kun's personality, even that goofiness of his might have been an act. Maybe he was trying to make her feel good about herself by letting her take care of him, if only unconsciously. When he's alone, he's surprisingly strong. I realized that only recently, so I couldn't help but think that his whole life is constantly affected by Sadako. Satoshi-kun managed to get along with his stepfathers even though he experienced some stress. He was even getting along with his aunt. But in order to protect Sadako, he always had to step in and suffer. Didn't really know anything about Sadako, but I had to admit I felt hostile towards her. I felt jealous because she was monopolizing him.
最近さとこちゃんへのおばさんのいじめがだいぶエスカレートしてるみたいです。サトシ君の体調不良もそれに比例しているんでしょうね。
Hirei heaved a sigh. As he said, Satoshi-kun had been absent a few times lately. He seemed a bit tired too. He looked normal and around everyone else, but he looked a bit depressed when he was alone.
監督はストレスに押しつぶされそうなサトシ君を救うため野球に誘ったんですよね。
ええ、そのつもりでした。
こうして野球をやっている今、またストレスに押しつぶされそうになっているサトシ君に今度は何を誘えばいいんですか？
どうすればいいんでしょうね。
Hirei smiled powerlessly. I couldn't help feeling a bit disappointed about that because Satoshi-kun put his trust in him.
内緒にしてくださいよ。実はですね、サトシ君、チームを抜けたいってそう漏らすんですよ、最近。
Damn.
どうして？
疲れるからだそうです。というのは表向き。さとこちゃんと一緒にいる時間を増やしてあげるためじゃないかと思ってます。
Makes sense.
サトシ君は野球をしている間、さとこちゃんがおばさんにいじめられているかもしれない。その時、さとこちゃんのそばにいられないことが兄として辛いと、そう思っているのかもしれません。
I was left speechless for a while. Sadako again. Sadako. Why did Satoshi-kun have to sacrifice so much for her? Just by ignoring her, his stress would melt away. Of course I knew he couldn't do that. If that were the case, then the blame lay with his little sister. I know how badly she'd been treated. But that only happened because she made things worse for herself. It was her fault that she couldn't establish a decent relationship with their aunt. Sadako were more mature like Satoshi-kun, her home life wouldn't have gotten so bad. Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to suffer those indirect blows. This is very dangerous mindset we're going down, Shion. In the meantime, the baseball team's practice match had become one-sided. It wasn't even worth watching anymore. The members of the losing team were just goofing off. The sky had turned cloudy too. It was depressing. It didn't look like it would rain soon, though. The gray sky had brought along any cool air. It just felt disgusting. Hirei became quiet. He was looking down around his feet. I, meanwhile, just stared at Satoshi-kun. To me, he didn't look active anymore. He was once able to enjoy playing baseball and he felt fine. But he got sick again, just because the relationship between Sadako and aunt had deteriorated. I couldn't help but say it.
サトシ君をどうこうするってより、サトコをどうこうする方が先決では。
Oh, shit. It was just a murmur, but Hirei had definitely caught it.
それはどういう意味ですか、園崎さん。
別に難しい話じゃないです。サトコがしっかりしてくれれば、サトシ君に迷惑をかけることもない。サトコがそもそもの原因であるってことが言いたいだけです。
うん、そんなことは。
でしょ？だってサトコがトラブルからサトシ君はそのトラブルに介入して矢面に立たなければならないんでしょ？でその結果、本当は買わなくて済んだおばの喧嘩まで買ってるわけでしょ？
Satoshi-kun never got scared in any trouble. No matter how formidable the enemy, he'd barely stand up to protect the weak. Knew that because I could vividly imagine it. Whenever their aunt chid Sadako, Satoshi-kun steps in to protect her. The aunt probably didn't like it. Though Satoshi-kun didn't have to fight, the aunt would attack him anyway. The fight would then be between the aunt and him. Sadako might then tease the aunt by sticking out her tongue, hiding behind his back, and pretending to be scared. She never think about how deeply he was being hurt. Because of Sadako, Satoshi-kun had become cornered and stressed.
園崎さん、あなたがそんな言い方をする人だったとは驚きです。あなたは聡子ちゃんのお友達でしょ？お姉さん的な立場でしょ？普段も学校で聡子ちゃんを慰めたり励ましたりしてるものだと思ってました。なのにそんな言い方をするなんて正直驚いています。
Yurei looked at me suspicious way. I could tell what he was thinking about me. I'd said too much. Mian Sonozaki and Sadako Hoijo are friends. They're close, so Mian should have been encouraging her after the situation at home got tougher. That's what Mian was supposed to do. I had totally forgotten about that and spoken as myself. It's only natural that Yurei would give me a suspicious look. He might end up changing his impression of Mian Sonozaki entirely. I'd have to apologize to her about this and ask her to put things right. I totally messed up. Even so, I didn't think I'd said anything wrong. I objectively looked at the situation and made a modest proposal. To be honest, I was simply afraid that he might leave the team. He couldn't go to school in Himizawa, so the baseball field was the only place where I could see him. I could even say that it was my reason for living. That's right. I was in love with him, but I wasn't going to tell him how I felt, for I was satisfied just being by his side. Certainly couldn't ask for anything more. After all, I couldn't reveal my true identity. I had to pretend to be Mion in order to live in Okayama. I felt that maybe I should leave Okayama in order to be free. But that's stupid. No matter how tough my life might be, I prefer to be here, for Satoshi-kun shook my head every now and then. Why did I love him that much? I read about it in some manga once. You don't need a reason to be in love. I was surprised at myself for being like this.
落ち着け。私。
I breathed out slowly, then held my breath, trying to swirl my throbbing heart. I felt a bit calmer. At that point, a clear thought came into my head. I want to be with Satoshi-kun. So, I want him to stay on the team. So, I want to get rid of his concerns and his stress. So what? So, what can I do to achieve all that? My head started to cool down as I heard the umpire shout.
Game set! 試合終了!
Oh, I have a bad feeling where this is going. Oh, I have a bad feeling. Some days I see him, some days I don't. Clear sky gets cloudy and rain will always stop eventually. I thought his absence was just like that, but he was actually on the verge of breakdown. The rainy season was just around the corner, and the air had become so humid that my shirt stuck to my skin. It had been a few weeks since Satoshi-kun stopped showing up for baseball practice. I looked for him as soon as I arrived at the field. To be honest, what I'm thinking right now, I think the best ending to any of this is that Shion was the one that murdered the aunt. I hope that's the answer. I really do. Because the other option, I don't want to think about. Oh, fuck. I looked for him as soon as I arrived at the field. He's not here yet. Did I get here too early? I want to see him playing in the field right when I get here. I had started arriving late because of those feelings. However, he wasn't here today either. I didn't even bother hiding my disappointment anymore. Everybody knew by now how I felt. Team members from Mion's class came over to try and console me, but I shooed them away.
園崎さん、気分が優れませんか？
Even Irai couldn't comfort me. I was aware that he too knew I was like this.
今日帰りますね。気分じゃないです。
ほら、今日は沖宮タイタンズさんと打ち合わせをする日じゃないですか。マネージャーの園崎さんにも同席してほしかったんですがね。
私を勝手にマネージャーにしないでください。私、マネージャーだったつもりはないんですから。
Irai looked down, not knowing what to say.
わかりました。元気が回復したらまた手伝ってくださいね。
もう来ないかもです。マネージャーが必要なら私以外を募集してください。
気が向いた時でいいです。また遊びに来てくださいね。それにほら、あなたがいないとサトシ君が戻ってきた時寂しがりますよ。
I ignored him and turned around. Maybe I was wrong in that this answer chapter would be with chapter 2. It's much more like chapter 3. I had already set up my schedule with Mion, so I didn't have to ask her every time anymore. I tried to contact her a couple times to ask how Satoshi-kun was doing in school, but hadn't been able to get through to her. Apparently the hag had sensed that I might be in contact with Sis. In other words, Sis was being watched. As a result, it hadn't been easy to contact her. Kasai, who had been helping me contact her, seemed to also have been marked. People knew he was loyal to me. I hadn't seen him for a while either. All I could do was wonder how Satoshi-kun was doing. I was frustrated, because there was no way for me to know. My head was filled with worries. Something surprised me out of the blue. Somebody called out to me when I was about to leave the field on my bike. Oh shit!
こんにちは。
I'd never seen this girl before. Luckily she called me Mi-chan. There's only one person who refers to me on that way as far as I know.
レナか。珍しいね。レナがここに来るなんて。
Her name is Reina Wigu. Her real name is Rena, but she wants to be called Lena. So that's what we call her. She moved here in April. I had some information on her, but it was all ambiguous. Sis was still a bit uncertain about her since she's so new. It was hard for me to handle someone like that. I don't know how to act around her as Mion. So I decided to pretend to be in an obvious sulky mood. That way she wouldn't talk to me as much, assuming that Mion was simply feeling bad. Well, that's how I really am anyway.
みーちゃんは帰り？
うん。
気分が優れないの？
悪いね。
じゃあ一緒に帰ろう。
I wanted to say that I'd rather be alone, but there's only one road to Himizawa. So asking to be alone would look odd. The only way to not seem suspicious would be to walk home with her.
そうだね。帰ろうか。
Rena quietly nodded. I unlocked my bike.
みーちゃん、傘は？
持ってないけど。
今日はこの後天気崩れるかもしれないんだって。傘ないなら急ごう。
As she predicted, we were attacked by pouring rain on our way. We ended up taking shelter in a small shack in front of a bus stop.
すごい降りだけど、これはそんなに長引きそうじゃないね。向こうの空は明るいもの。
そうだね。
Of course it's the same damn bus stop. I heard the sound of rain pattering on the rooftop and the raindrops jumping into puddles. It sounded loud, but it made me feel strangely calm. I zoned out for a moment, then went and talked to me while looking up at the rainy sky.
最近元気ないって聞いたから心配してたんだよ。
All the baseball team members knew I was depressed because I hadn't seen Satoshi-kun recently. Most of them attended the school in Himizawa, so it wasn't surprising that she knew as well. I hadn't been able to contact Sis these past few weeks, but I was sure she had an idea of how I feel about Satoshi-kun and how I would feel if he didn't come to his baseball practice. Sis was probably pretending to act a little depressed during her day-to-day in Himizawa to avoid creating a big gap between our moods. But neither of us knew the details about the other right now, so she wouldn't be able to answer if others asked her what was wrong. She'd only be able to say, "Leave me alone." It might lead more people to become worried, when it must have thought Mion was depressed. That must be why she came all the way to see me. She must have known what was going on because she knew that I was at the baseball field.
サトシ君、構ってくれないから寂しい？
Ah, so this is during the time when Satoshi became more distant, like we heard about in Chapter 1. Having deduced what had been going on with Satoshi-kun from what she just said, he'd been distancing himself from others lately because of exhaustion. That's what it sounded like, at least.
サトコちゃんの件でだいぶ悩んでるみたいだった。サトシ君はすごく追い詰められてると思う。かわいそうだよね。
サトシ君は本当に妹思いだからね。
The more and more we hear about this, the more and more I'm convinced it was Satoshi that killed the aunt. Or maybe it could be Shion that, actually killed the aunt. Because from this new information we're hearing, Satoshi was basically dying from this. Like, he was getting fucked up about he loves Sadako. And that makes sense for a brother, to protect the sister, but it's killing him. It's very much killing him, and well, eventually got tired of it, and well, killed his aunt and had to run away in order to protect his sister, in order to maybe prevent her from seeing her brother being taken away to prison. I guess he must have decided to just run away instead. Maybe, I don't know, all speculation.
偉いよ、本当に。
What it said sounded hollow, as I knew too well how much of a burden Sadako had become.
でもだからってみーちゃんまで落ち込んじゃったらかえってサトシ君を追い詰めちゃうように思うかな。
私に追い詰めるつもりなんてないよ。
それはもちろん知ってるよ。でもだからこそ学校にいる時のサトシ君を笑顔で迎えてあげられなかったら本当にサトシ君は追い詰められちゃうよ。みーちゃんはたとえ嘘でも笑顔が作れる強い人間だって知ってる。だから嘘でも笑ってほしいの。最初はたとえ嘘でもね。笑顔って最後には本物になるんだよ。
What she was saying in a nutshell was this. Both Satoshi-kun and Sadako were totally wiped out. If Mian was also depressed, even though she was the sort of person who usually lightens the mood, their situation would be stuck in a vicious cycle. When it sounded more like she was trying to give me advice than trying to console me, she must be more mature than she looks. She just told me that she was a funny girl with a few bad habits, but she seemed to have another very mature side to her.
みーちゃんはサトシくんのこと好き？
好き。
Though I shouldn't have told her that, Amado responded.
なら笑おう。
Luna smiled herself.
みーちゃんの笑顔できっとサトシくんに元気を分けてあげられると思う。みーちゃんはそれしかできないことに落胆しかけているかもしれないけれど、それでもね、多分それが一番サトシくんの力になる。
理屈ではわかるけどね。笑えったってそう簡単にはできないよ。
Luna giggled and nodded.
野球の練習にもさ、バイトが終わったらきっと帰ってくるから。
This part-time job? I almost asked that question, but I managed to stop myself. In the tone of Lena's voice, it sounded like it was something everyone knew.
バイトか。いつ終わるんだろうね。
お金が貯まるまでだろうけど、どんなに遅くてもさとこちゃんの誕生日までには終わるよ。
I tried to figure out what was going on from what she said. I had to listen very carefully to uncover the whole picture. Satoshi-kun seemed to be working in order to make some money. I don't think it's easy to find a job when you're still in school, so this might have had something to do with it. His job only seemed temporary. It seemed to have something to do with Sadako's birthday. It wasn't that difficult to figure out. Satoshi was working, saving up to buy his little sister something expensive for her birthday. He was trying to comfort her, even though he was so torn up himself. Sadako again. Satoshi-kun was already worn out because of her, and he was now working for her sake, even though he was exhausted. That was stupid. It would be easier for him to just forget about Sadako. What the fuck? I was startled when I realized Rena was looking straight into my eyes. She was smiling, but her eyes looked creepy. I never voiced what I was thinking, but she was looking at me as though she figured out that I was blaming Sadako. She beamed when she noticed my fear. She smiled as though she understood that I thought that way because of love. She was giving me the creeps. I could hear thunder roar in the distance. The rain began to pick up.
さとこちゃんがサトシくんを独占してることに嫉妬を感じてる？
Jesus, Rana, goddamn. I avoided answering immediately this time, but Rana seemed to know what I was thinking already.
別にみーちゃんがそう思っても私は軽蔑しないよ。人を一途に好きになるときってそういうものだもん。
ありがとう。
でもみーちゃんは今までずっとさとこちゃんを励ましてくれてたよね。それって私すごく立派なことだと思うな。
さとこは仲間だもの。当然でしょ。
I sounded so fake. Felt like spitting on the floor.
私たちにはさとこちゃんもさとしくんも励ますことしかできない。どうやったらこの苦境から救ってあげられるのかわからない。
さとこがさとしくんにべったりしすぎなんだよ。さとこがもっとしっかりすればさとしくんがここまで追い詰められることはない。
はっきり言うね。
But Sadako knows that. She fucking knows. God damn it, the more and more I think about this fucking tragedy. This is straight up a fucking tragedy, dude. The more and more I think about it, the more fucking goddamn. Fuck, man. Oh my god. It just gets more and more fucking tragic. Jesus. Rena nodded with an unflinching smile, even though my remarks could be taken as harsh. What was this mysterious girl thinking? It was difficult to get a read on her.
サトシ君もさ、ほんの少しはそう思っているとこあるかもしれないね。
He does.
Eh?
Yeah. Rena kept smiling, but her smile looked strangely hot, cold.
サトシ君も多分心のどこかでサトコちゃんをかばい続けることに疲れを感じてると思う。
Given the type of person Rena is, I don't think she'd say something if she wasn't certain of it. Because of that, she must have been confident in what she just told me.
どうしてそう思う？
私、サトシ君に打ち明けられたから。
Why? Satoshi-kun's secret we confessed to her. Rena asked me to keep it that way.
サトシ君がね、言った兄として頼られることに苦痛を感じる。それはとても罪深いことだと知っているけどってね。
I don't think he would say something like that. But, however, it wasn't likely that Rena was lying. I just met her, so I didn't know what made me feel that way. But my hunch told me that she was telling the truth. I heaved a huge sigh. Satoshi-kun must have gotten so tired that he couldn't help telling someone. Even so, even if he thought that way, he wouldn't tell somebody so easily. Maybe Rena led him to do so. She might be capable of something like that. I don't understand. This girl. It had only been a little while since we met, but I had already started talking about something I was keeping deep inside of me. Does she have some kind of supernatural power to reach in people's minds and drag out what they were thinking? It suddenly hit me that I was sitting with this creepy girl in a tiny shack. I'd been dragged into her strange world. I don't think Sis has realized Rena's real personality. She thinks Rena's just a funny girl with some strange habits. She would have told me if she knew.
レナはサトシ君に打ち明けられるくらいに信頼されてるんだね。羨ましい。
別に信頼されてるわけじゃない。私が経験者だからだと思う。
Huh?
経験？レナにも兄弟をかばったりした経験が？
ひたひたと
What?
ずっと足音がついてきて。
What? Footsteps? Footsteps?
夜は枕元にまで立たれて見下ろされる経験。
Huh? Sorry, Rena. What are you talking about? I turned around to face her and got the chills. Though she was smiling, her eyes looked ice cold. I trembled and froze with my eyes open.
みーちゃんにはない？ないと思う。多分。
Lena kept laughing self-derisively. I tried to figure out what she was saying.
みーちゃんはひなみ沢から逃げ出そうとか、もっと都会に行きたいなとか、そういうことを考えたことはある？
The Hinamizawa syndrome? I didn't know how to respond. Lena waited for my answer, urging me to speak with her silence.
ないよ。私は地元好きだし。
だよね。だよね。みーちゃんはそうだと思う。
It didn't seem like a good idea to lie to her. Lena has some kind of power I can't grasp. She can read people's minds just by seeing the slightest change in their expressions. So I had to tell her the truth.
そうならば、みーちゃんは大丈夫。お社様には怒られない。
お社様？
Oshiro-sama, that Shimizawa's guardian deity, I couldn't understand why she mentioned that name. My mind stopped for a moment.
うん。お社様。
She calmly repeated the name as if trying to teach me something. Yeah, I remember. Oshiro-sama never allows heathens to desecrate Himizawa. Oshiro-sama never allows the villagers to leave either. Those are the rules. Slowly, I recalled the fear of the curse which supposedly caused the dismemberment, murder, and the death of the Hoijo couple. When I was sent to the institution, I had this fear. I was scared that if I went to that faraway boarding school, I'd fall under the curse, but I should be okay. I escaped from the school and returned to my old town, to Okayama to be precise, but she'd be okay according to the kids' rules because I love Himizawa. The hag forces me to live this suffocating life, but I still chose to stay in this place. I don't believe I'm breaking Oshiro-sama's rules. Even though the Sonozaki family itself selfishly banished me to a remote place, I came back here anyway. Oshiro-sama should even press me for that. Guess I'm trying to convince myself that the curse doesn't apply to me. But I think I'm still afraid of it.
私は地元好きだから。その意味では、お社様のたたりがあるとは思っちゃいないね。模範的だとすら思ってるけど。
うん。それは私も認める。だからこそ、サトシ君のことはわかんない。
どうして？
サトシ君は心のどこかでひなみ沢を捨ててどこかへ逃げ出したいと思ってるから。
Shit. I gave an inaudible cry. While I was feeling sad that Satoshi-kun hadn't showed up for practice, he still lived in Himizawa, so I never even considered the thought of him going away.
サトシ君が家出したがってるってこと？
うん。無意識のうちに。お社様が枕元に立つまでは多分意識すらしてなかったと思う。
I still had no idea what she was talking about. Continued trying to figure out what she was saying.
サトシ君が体験していることはすべてお社様のたたりの前触れなの。誰かが遠くからじっと伺っている。誰かがずっとつけてくる。誰かがいつも自分のすぐ後ろから見ている。やがて足音は常に自分とずれて一つ余計に聞こえるようになるの。それらは初めのうちはお外でだけだけど、やがて後ろのそれは自分の家の中にまでついてくるようになる。そしてお布団に入って明かりを消してもずっと枕元から見下ろしてるの。ただただ黙ってじっと自らの罪を認めるまで。サトシ君は夢見が悪いって最初言い出したの。それで私がどんな夢と聞いたら、私の時をなぞるようだった。だから私彼に予告したの。その気配がやがて近づき足音を聞かせるようになり、常にサトシ君を見下ろしているようになったなら、それはきっと私の時と同じだから相談してって。サトシ君は初め私のことを怪げに思ったと思う。でも私が予告した通りにお社様の気配が近づくのを感じ、お社様が枕元にまで立つに至って、やっと自分の身に起こってることを相談できるのは私しかいないって気づいたの。
Rather than look like she was joking, she just calmly told me what had been going on. I couldn't even move. I couldn't tell if her words were a joke or the truth. I could only feel stunned.
私はね、もともとひなみ沢に住んでいたの。小学校に上がる直前にここから引っ越した。でも新しい環境に馴染めなくてね、心の中のお社様にひなみ沢に帰れ帰れって何度も呼びかけられてた。でも小学生の子が泣きながら元の町に帰りたいって言ったってどうにもならないもんね。私は現実とお社様の声に板挟みにされてずっと過ごすことになる。そして
When I paused, it looked like she didn't want to go into the details of what followed. In general, she confused me even more.
結局いろいろあって私はひなみ沢に帰ってくることができた。だからお社様にはそれで許してもらえた。あれ以来お社様の気配を感じることはないもの。でもね、サトシ君は私と違ってひなみ沢にいながらお社様のたたりを受けることになった。
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things of the curse theory is why does the people be affected by it?
それはなぜか。理由は一つ。サトシ君はひなみ沢にはいたけれども、ひなみ沢を捨てて遠くに逃げたがっていたから。その心をお社様は許さなかったんだね。サトシ君は自問自答を何度も繰り返した挙句に認めたよ。ほら、サトシ君アルバイトをしてるでしょ。サトコちゃんが欲しがったあの大きなぬいぐるみは10万円くらいするもんね。サトシ君はサトコちゃんの誕生日までにその額を稼ごうとしている。でもほら、考えてみて。それだけのお金があったら後先を考えなくていいならどこか遠くへ逃げ出す十分な費用になりうるんだよ。サトシ君は無意識のうちにね、そのサトコちゃんを捨ててどこか遠くへ逃げ出すお金に使ってしまいたいって思うようになってたの。それはサトシ君にとってはこの上なく罪深いこと。でもさっきみーちゃんが指摘したようにサトコちゃんの存在自体がサトシ君の負担になってるのは事実。サトシ君だってバカじゃないもん。兄として認めたくなかっただけでサトコちゃんが負担になっていることにはちゃんと気づいていた。だからサトシ君は葛藤してるんだよ。自分は妹を喜ばせるためのお金を貯めるためにバイトをしているつもりだけれども、それは自分の心を騙しているだけで、本当は自分が逃げ出すためのお金を作るためにバイトしてるんじゃないかって。私は逃げ出すべきじゃないと思う。逃げ出したってサトシ君は多分一生後悔する。お社様だってそれを分かってるからサトシ君にこうして警告してくれているの。サトシ君の心にサトコちゃんを見捨てるなんて悪魔のささやきが早く聞こえなくなるといいんだけども。サトシ君は綿流しの数日後だっけのサトコちゃんの誕生日にプレゼントを間に合わせるため今いろいろなアルバイトに精を出してる。心も体も追い詰めてる。そんな苦境がきっとサトコちゃんの誕生日を境に終わるんだって信じて。サトシ君は今もお社様のたたりに苛まれている。サトコちゃんを守るか見捨てるかの天秤の狭間に立たされながらね。
The torrential rain didn't seem to want to stop. It kept pouring down on the gravel-eyes on the roof, producing a loud noise. Yet in the shack it fell completely silent. What the hell was Rena talking about? I couldn't grasp even half of what she was saying. The only thing I figured out is that Satoshi-kun was struggling, confused, and in lots of pain. He's suffering from Osho-sama's curse. Alright, here's the thing. I'm gonna double down on this. I think I'm so betting it's not supernatural. I'm still fucking betting on that. What Satoshi is feeling as this curse. Well, I mean, he and Rena, maybe Rena is, I don't know what Rena's trauma would be, like her guilt would be about concerning Himisawa. But for Satoshi, it's obvious to me, at least, is the fact of he unconsciously wants to leave Himisawa. He wants to leave. He just wants to get away from it all. He doesn't want to be hurt anymore. He doesn't want to be tired. He doesn't want to be sick anymore. He doesn't want to feel this way anymore. But he still wants to protect Sadako. And so in his mind, he has produced this sort of this idea of a god trying to stop him from going. So he's developed this auditory hallucination of this footstep, you know? I'm still believing that footstep is a fucking hallucination. I'm still believing in that. It's not a goddamn curse. It's not supernatural. I'm still believing that. It's just a manifestation of guilt. The guilt of even thinking of the single possibility of him making all this money and running away from Sadako's pain. That's what it is the guilt of even thinking that. Osho-sama's curse. Alright? I think I figured it out. Osho-sama's curse is just people's manifestation of their guilt about something. Be it about the smallest thing or be it about the biggest thing. Osho-sama's curse is guilt. Guilt of trying to run away. Of trying to run away from your problems instead of facing them on. That's why there's always a footstep. Because... where am I going with this? It manifests as a footstep. Maybe it could represent the fear of this god catching up to you, of your problems catching up to you. You can't run away forever. Osho-sama's curse is a manifestation of the guilt of trying to run away from your problems. I think that's it. That's my theory on what Osho-sama's curse really is. Because I'm still on the fact it's not supernatural. I could be totally wrong about this, but I am very, very confident in that. I very much am. And actually, yeah, let me say about, Kechi, because in chapter 3, Kechi very much suffered from Osho-sama's curse, quote unquote, because he heard the footsteps. In that case, it was guilt of murdering Sadako's uncle. I think that was it. Of murdering Sadako's uncle. Even though he wanted to do it. There was still... unconsciously, like Satoshi here, of unconsciously wanting to leave Himisawa, Kechi also unconsciously felt a tinge of remorse for Sadako's uncle, even though of the horrible, abhorrent things he did to Sadako. He still had that thought unconsciously. he still had that bit of guilt of killing Sadako's uncle. So yeah, that's my gigantic theory on what Osho-sama's curse is, from the information we just learned right now. So the question is, what is Rena's guilt? Because she left Himizawa when she was a child. I don't know what her guilt would be about. No, yeah, I can't even speculate what that would be. And Rena has experienced that before? The Wanakagashi festival was right around the corner. Osho-sama's curse had struck 3 years in a row. There's no guarantee that it wouldn't strike a 4th time. Satoshi-kun was subject to Osho-sama's curse even now. Was he going to skip town? Was he going to be the next victim of Osho-sama's curse? Either way, he might disappear forever. Could I do something to prevent it? If I didn't do anything, it would all come to a hopeless end. I started feeling a sense of dread. So, in my theory, I didn't mention anything about the murders. I don't think the murders have any connection to Osho-sama whatsoever. I think people just started saying that. The villagers, because of their folk tales and folklore, just named those incidences, those strings of murders, as Osho-sama's curse because, because of their superstition. I think maybe the Himizawa syndrome and Osho-sama's curse, Osho-sama, are one and the same. I'll go, no, Himizawa syndrome also could be that. Yeah, you know what? In this theory I have about Osho-sama's curse, I'm going to say that Himizawa syndrome is not a byproduct of Osho-sama's curse, but the same thing as Osho-sama's curse. It was just named a different name because of the whole gas leak disaster at Himizawa in Chapter 3. So, that's my whole thing. Okay, it's time to actually keep going. We're at 2 hours. I started feeling a sense of dread. I didn't buy the crazy story Rena told me, but if something really was happening to Satoshi-kun, she might bring about some kind of end. I couldn't help feeling scared. It's true, isn't it? My instinct is always correct. Oh no. I decided to contact Mian despite the danger. Mian got upset at first, but she had to listen to me.
お姉サトシ君のことだけどどういうことになってるの？
最近だいぶ険しい様子なんだよ。うかつに声もかけられない雰囲気。
何それ？声をかけられないからサトシ君がどういう状況になってるかよく分かってないってこと？お姉キンキンにまた入れ替わる機会を設けてほしいの。
それはもちろん構わないよ。でも最近はちょっと綿流しのお祭りの打ち合わせの絡みで日程の調整が難しいんだよ。何？またバイト？
私ひなみ沢の学校へ行く。
I don't like the fact that Shion said my instinct was correct. I have a bad feeling about it. Oh shit, 2 tips instead. Okay. Now, about that whole theory about Osho-sama's curse again. I'm thinking back to chapter 1 when Kechi also heard the footsteps. Now, that could be chalked up to be he was being watched in actuality, since he, in chapter 1, Kechi didn't really have anything to be guilty of, if I remember correctly. Was there anything he would be feeling guilty of? Not that I remember, nothing big. So in chapter 1, he wasn't suffering from Oshiro-sama's curse. He was being watched by the director. That fucker again. Only said one. That fucker's gonna come up again, I'm telling you. But anyway, yeah, this 2 chapters, especially this chapter in particular, or the one we just went through, it's bringing all the pieces of every chapter together. You know, Sadako and Satoshi's abuse from both, you know, from chapter 3, Lena's obsession with Oshiro-sama's curse from chapter 1, and Shion and Mion being the main protagonists from, you know, chapter 2. Not really a lot from chapter 4, but all the pieces are coming together, and that feels awesome. That all this feels like it's finally, all these disconnected different, you know, plot lines are coming and mingling together. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. If you did, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. Want to tell me something, put it down in the comments below. And yeah, this has been Voidlego. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!